Hi, my name is Glenn Richard. My favorite decade was the 80s.
The 1960s?
I think it was the 70s.
In the 40s.
The 90s.
What was it about that decade that made it so special?
It was awesome.
Well, let's see.
I spent a lot of time going out to the beach to swim.
The first half of the 80s were my high school years, the second half were my college years.
Well, I was a young child.
I graduated high school in Hawaii.
People criticize the 80s as being like shallow and superficial and, cotton candy-ish. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, we had fun. We enjoyed ourselves. We loved America. Sorry.
We still could protest and do things like that without any repercussions. It was all safe.
We weren't tethered to our parents. We had a lot of freedom. We could come and go as we pleased.
Kind of a defining time in my life.
Rock and roll was the best music we've ever had, ever again, since.
And I volunteered and worked.
Part of it is just for me personally, what that time represented. It was a time where I had a lot of fun. It was good. It sort of defined who I was.
Vietnam War ended. All of the violence of the 60s was ending.
Raising my children.
You could be gone all afternoon. You could hop on your bike and be gone all afternoon and then come home when the sun was going down to have dinner.
It shaped my identity. It shaped my taste.
Your parents kind of knew where you were. We were in a neighborhood where they couldn't find us. They needed to get a hold of us. They knew they could call somebody within 4 or 5 blocks and find out what we were up to.
I met Harvey and got married.
An explicit thing of saying, I'm not going to feel bad anymore. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to celebrate having fun. I'm going to celebrate making money and being selfish and being shallow, and I'm going to celebrate fashion, patriotism. I don't know.
It was a fun time.
What was your favorite band, movie, or form of art that you liked?
Movies.
Movies?
So as I mentioned, I was a child, and so my favorite movie was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Empire Strikes Back, awesome. E.T., amazing.
The Matrix.
I came to appreciate a lot of the movies that came out of the 60s, like The Graduate, I think was one of them.
One of the great movies of all time.
Jaws.
Terminator movies. I've always liked those.
Indiana Jones.
I remember being at a drive-in movie, you guys probably don't know what that is, and being too afraid to get out and go get popcorn at the concession stand because the shark might be like swimming by my car.
In the middle of Arizona.
In the middle of Arizona.
Okay. And any music?
Oh yes, absolutely, the Beatles.
I think the Beatles are kind of overrated.
The Who, by far the best band that has ever been around. I still love The Who.
Why Hawaiian Bank all instruments.
The albums on CDs.
We had this new radio station called 91X, and 91X was the first sort of new wave.
Disco started, one of the worst music that's ever been around in history.
Singer was Alfred Apaka.
So I remember like Jewel. We got Jewel records.
Music of the 60s, the decade that rock and roll was born.
We got some, like a Hawaiian artist that sang some songs while we were in Hawaii, so we made sure we got that CD.
That period from the early 80s to the late 80s, when 91X was in its prime, was like, still my favorite music. Talking Heads, Specials, English Beat, OMD, The Clash, The Cure.
There's much more variety of music. It's not like, we went from rock and roll to popular music to hip hop. It's more like everything is popular these days and people can find their own.
What do you think was the biggest influence on pop culture?
Pop culture, I think, was hugely influenced by American politics.
The Pill.
The Vietnam War was huge.
Vietnam War, you had Watergate.
Nixon being thrown out of presidency.
The internet was a big influence.
Birth control was like this newfound amazing thing called the pill that was a very easy thing for birth control.
Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Japanese.
Inflation, you had recession,
if I had to relate that to pop culture, I think, well, maybe it destroyed the industry in one way.
Free love and a lot of stuff was born out of the 60s.
Civil rights movement, you had all these kinds of, really serious, difficult issues.
There was a lot going on in those days.
And you also had this sense that sort of maybe like America was not working the way it used to work. And I think the 80s were kind of a reaction against that.
Have any of those influences also influenced you as a person?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it has.
Oh, absolutely.
All of the above, probably.
I'm just glad
Whether I like it or not, my tastes and values were defined by the 80s.
Because I think my childhood really had a good, I think a favorable impression on me.
That influenced society. And I don't know where we're going with this, but there were so many changes already in the 90s.
I think that I'm probably a little bit less conservative having grown up in those times.
Things that I experienced had great value. There's the nostalgia element.
A lot of the lessons I learned and a lot of the things that I did, I think I brought to my kids' life as well.
What changed right away was that information and contacts could happen instantaneously.
And, I know that may not be empirically true, and I know, people tell me, homelessness and AIDS and things like that, and I understand that. But nonetheless, for me personally, that was a time in my life which was a sort of special, magical time. And I always thought it was like when I was in high school in the 80s and I would see people who would sort of romanticize and sort of idealize the 60s generation, the protest movement, all that kind of stuff. And I always thought, oh, how pitiful that they're trapped, that these, aging hippies are trapped in the 60s. And now I'm like this aging, middle-aged man trapped in 1984, romanticizing Ronald Reagan's re-election.